Hello and welcome to week one recap of South Africa season 9 return of the Outcasts. Thank you for joining us. No one's joined us yet, but it just started. But future people who watch this post recording, welcome when you join us in that future time. I'm joined again by my lovely partners, Annabel,
Hello, CK.
who, like me, has COVID, and so we both feel like utter rubbish. I don't know if that's because of my picks or because of the disease. We will see. And then Max is here with us as well. How are you, mate?
Very good, thank you. And how are you too?
Very good. And we have two viewers
CK, how are
already.
you?
Well,
I should be asking you.
well,
Oh,
I'm
look at
in
that.
a state. I'm in a state of utter despair. I'm in mourning. Not only have my picks been a disaster, but my beloved Chappies was voted out first. I knew it could possibly happen. I thought it was a risk, and it eventuated. So, quite the disaster week. I now owe you guys a round of drinks at some point. So, COVID, Chappies is gone. Really, it's just been unfortunate all around. But
what can I say? I'm in the mood for a
I like
very expensive beverage.
Overhead on this.
We're getting some significant lag from Max. Are you getting this too, Annabelle?
Have we thought about just muting him?
He's gone completely still. He will need to perhaps sort out his tech. While we're waiting for Max to do that, we will continue on without him. And the show won't be much different. Now, first episode comes on, all the cast come out, and frankly, I was very concerned from the get-go because there was an obscene amount of Chappies. I'm just going to drop him out until he comes back. There was an obscene amount of Chappies confessionals, like an obscene amount, right? And I'm like, South Africa is normally pretty good with its casting, its confessional balance. And I'm like, man, they're just throwing so much Chappies in that he's so gone. That's how I felt.
Yeah, though that said, I feel like we've always been pretty Chappies heavy. I had already been spoiled. So I went into the episode gloating that it wasn't going to be me with the first one out. But I have to say it was a bitter victory because obviously we all stand Chappies here. We're a Chappies Stan podcast. And I also just thought generally it was a terrible decision.
Agreed. And the thing that baffles me most about the decision, and we can always look back to this, is an alliance was formed, the Breakfast Club, as they were called, with Steffi, Chappies, Meryl, Dante, Shane, and Marianne. Is that am I saying right?
Marion, yes.
Marion. So that was the group. And this went all against your insider org knowledge. So, I'm thinking this is great. And Chappies has got this secret relationship with Steffi, which I'm like, brilliant. This is all going to go very well. And then Dante, it all seemed to came down to, from my read of it, Dante was annoyed that Chappies wasn't digging for the idol with him, so decided to just vote him out, and everyone just went with it. That's as much as I could tell.
I'm glad you brought this up. Also, Matthew in the chat, we will be spilling the Tevin tea, but right now we need to circle back on some other tea. So, CK, you mentioned that you thought my org theories were incorrect. I felt like actually the pre-game alliances totally confirmed the situation. So, Tayshan, who had played in Tony's org, was in the alliance with the other Filipinos. So Tony and PK and Palesa. And then Shane was kind of open to working with whoever. He was left out in the first vote. But what I didn't know, and this is the first place where I want to pick on my sister, and fundamentally shows why her and I are two very different people. Charlotte did not feel the need to tell me, A, that Marion and PK had been in a relationship and had a very spicy breakup. We love a spicy breakup. Why would you leave that one out, Charlotte? And number two, that Shane had said in all of his preseason press that if Chappies was in the game with him, his number one thing that he wanted to do, no questions asked, was to make sure that Chappies was the first boot. Now, while Shane did not end up targeting Chappies, Charlotte, why would you not tell me these two juicy pieces of information? Why would I care that Meryl is a good game player? I don't. I care about the spicy breakups.
That's a fantastic commentary. You're absolutely right. It was excitement level plus. It was what we got in Winners at War. Here we go. Charlotte blindsided you, Annabelle. Get her to play Melbs. Marty says absolutely. We could do a Blood versus Water. That's where we should be bringing that on. Yeah, like it was like Winners at War with the ex relationship with Wendell and what's her name? Michelle, yeah. But this was even more spicy because they really didn't like each other. It was a bad end to whatever happened. So in the end, though, it didn't matter because Dante just did his thing and everyone went with it. But the thing that's baffled me most about it is, okay, that's the alliance. Got it. You know, that alliance won out. Next episode, actually, we're going to go back to the Breakfast Club, just without Chappies this time, and then vote out the other people, vote out the Filipino group. So
we really need to talk about Dante's small penis energy. It is just ringing so loud and clear. Whether it was getting all jealous that Chappies isn't, oh, I'm not Chappies number one. Oh no, I'm not Steffi's number one. They're each other's number one.
I'm not digging with them for an idol.
I've been cut. They left me out. Apparently he's been getting all cuddly with Marion at night, and there seems to be a little bit of a flirtmance there. This was according to Chappie's exit interview. All the way to his like weird and totally below the belt outburst about Tony's domestic violence induced post-traumatic stress disorder. Everything about him to me right now is screaming.
Yeah. And how do we feel about the haircut? Because I feel like the hair was the best thing he had about him.
Yeah. I mean, I actually just think that the haircuts, it's exactly. Small PP below the belt. Thank you, Matt. The hair, you know what, hair or no hair, you can't compensate for what's going on down there. And fundamentally, I think, he's been getting a lot of credit for putting together these moves. They were crap moves. He's really put a target on himself, not only as being in charge of these moves, but also as an unpleasant person to be around. And I don't think it's doing him any favors. Anyway, Max, Dante's your boy. No surprises there. Classic Max pick. Tell us why we should be rooting for him.
He's got nothing. He's got nothing
100%.
he could possibly say of why anyone should be getting.
He is my
Dante.
pick, and obviously someone who I don't want to say connect with, but some. I was going to go on a spiel here, but
the tech issues are only making this funnier.
You know what?
Like,
just
it's like
because you took
it's
your
like
boy out, CK. You don't have to be too salty about it, but it's the way it goes. It's one of those things where someone has to get voted out first, and unfortunately, it was Chappies. But the alpha male in this circumstance came out on top, and I'm sorry with my connection tonight as well, by the way.
All I can
feel like I'm jumping in and out, and it's a bit slow.
There's just something about Dante's energy that really resonates with Max. He can't quite.
I feel like everything's delayed with what I'm saying.
But it's definitely there.
I have to say that was just quality programming, and the tech issues only enhanced the statement because it sounded like we were like bleeping out in live time statements that were just too much to publish. It's like, oh, we're gonna cut that, and we can't say that on the air, etc. And he's gone again. It's okay. Max would just contribute where he can with these technical difficulties. So Dante has had that move in. Look, he's completely weakened the tribe like that. From a physical point of view, the post-merge tribe should have been in a position to dominate the pre-merge. With the removal of Chappies and PK, who we'll get to in a moment, they are on par as physical tribes now, I would suggest. Matthew suggests that you should hotspot off your phone, Max. That's his suggestion. You can try that. Okay,
and you know what, CK, wasn't it a sweet moment when the immunity challenge immediately after the Chappie's boot was a water swimming challenge? I screamed.
Yes, I know, and poor Chappies would have been devastated about it, I'm sure. And then Dante did what he could. So what do we feel about, we'll just wrap up that first episode. How did we feel about the outpost deal trade circumstances, and also finishing on that note before we got another episode the next night?
So look, I'm not a master strategist, CK, so don't
I'm
ask
back.
me
Sorry.
all good, honey. You're here to look pretty.
That's
it. So don't ask me what the correct move is in terms of who you should be putting forward. But as a sales rep, I really did feel like both sides played it pretty poorly. So I felt like both Shane and Steffi were too quick to put all of their cards on the table. And then I felt like, as Teresa pointed out, Seamus then just did not match and mirror that energy at all and was going in way too aggressive. So I think, given that it's an opportunity for them to build some kind of relationship, you know, and given that Shane and Steffi were being so open and honest, I feel like that was an opportunity for Seamus to at least pretend he was doing something similar. Great to have you, Snyder.
Snyder's here. Here we go. Welcome, Snyder, a #1 viewer.
Maverick Cup series in the house. Love it.
And we'll get on to it, but his draft pick is still there, of course, which is exciting for him. We'll get on to that later when we clarify with the draft position. So
in fairness,
I liked the Outpost Idol. I think it was a good idea. I think it was a good way to end that episode. If you had weekly episodes, it would have been really annoying. But for a hey, tune in tomorrow, it was fine. Kept you interested. You knew what was going to happen. I feel like, well, they played them because they said they didn't vote for who they said they were going to vote for. They voted for Tevin, which I don't think was what they told them they would do. And then Tevin ended up getting the idol. And I think they were hoping he would sort of expose himself by playing it on Tony or PK, which, you know, despite what we talked about, how they blindsided him in the prior season, obviously they have a good relationship still, given they all have matching tattoos.
And Max, I'll give you 30 seconds of speaking space before I respond to that.
I still feel like my Dante spiel was cut short, and I'm really disappointed by that.
It was perfect, honey. It was perfect.
No, it couldn't have been any better. With all the ways it was being cut out half the time, it was amazing. Oh, he's gone again.
Fantastic. You wasted your one sentence, Max. So I actually thought that Tevin misplayed that as well. I mean, it was, I guess, throwing him a bone. It looks like Palesa really didn't feel included as part of the Philippines crew. And you know what? We thought that might be the case, given that basically all of the others had never voted with her and were responsible for voting her out, with the exception of PK. But it really, and Tevin had no way of knowing this, but in giving Palesa the immunity, it really reinforced that idea that the Philippines crew was sticking strong.
I agree.
And was Dante was the other person that he was thinking of giving it to. I think if he had given it to Dante, that could have really changed things for Tony and PK in that next vote.
Yes, I agree. I want to ask the important question though: is the three of them have a tattoo for their tribe, their Mindanao, I think, tribe from the Philippines, Mindanao. Should yourself, me, and Max get matching tattoos to celebrate our time on a live reality game?
I cannot think of two people I would rather matching tattoos with. I think we've got a very natural synergy and obvious, and that what 12 hours we spent together before I was unceremoniously kicked
Spoilers! Spoilers!
was very precious, and I'll carry it with you for the rest of your life. Now, people have comments in the chat that you're not sharing, so
yeah, I think the blind side here was about Max being blindsided by him being removed. And Shaz asked, have either of you competed on a live reality game? Yes, the three of us, this is how we know each other, are on Melbourne Survivor Season 3. That's how we all know each other. It will air later this year, so look out for that. That's how we all know each other. And I think we should get matching tattoos, and I think it would line up with the three people who we're discussing, because I do feel that, you know, you do give off some quality Tony energy, Annabelle, and I know you would love that compliment. Max gives off severe PK energy. He's just all about the muscle and the games and not much strategy. And look, I will take the Tevin hit, notwithstanding his history.
We're going to have to survey your Instagram first, CK.
Yeah, I don't have. I'm basically a boomer who barely uses Instagram, so that will be safe. But we do have that, and we'll channel that a bit later in the episode. I'll mention it now because I haven't mentioned it to you. But as part of what I want to do with our podcast here is each week, I want the three of us to highlight the best play we think of the week that it correlates to our skill of that survivor. So, you know, I'm saying, Annabelle, you're a social player at heart. Max is a strength challenge player at heart, and I'm a strategic player at heart. And we should highlight what we think was the best move by someone in those categories.
Kind of like the full package alliance.
Yes, like, do we think the full package alliance represents the full package?
No.
For Max, it lacks a certain element, and that's
it lacks Dante. Like, talking about the move of the week was him holding up that the sandbags for as long as he did. So,
God, this is a lot. Can you read this aloud for us, please? CK?
Open question from Marty, star of Backyard Survivor 4. With new era US Survivor making a lot of intentional or unintentional references to Lost, e.g. the monster, do these tribe symbols, advantage clue symbols, evoke Dharma Initiative vibes for anyone? If not, since we now know LaRue has been inspired by nerd pop culture with the production design choices, are these symbols an homage to something else? Oh my God, Matt, what is this? No, I think the answer is no. But Martinez, who I know will listen to this one day, you know, shout out to you and Lost, my bro, LaFleur forever. That's just someone I played an org with once for getting super nerdy. But he does listen to this stuff, so that's something.
CK only plays org so that he has people who'll listen to his podcast at a later date.
Why would anyone else play orgs? I think that's really the only reason.
Josh has an amazing zing in the chat, and I would like to bring that up.
Okay, here we go.
Thank you.
Or did you mean this one?
Yeah, no. I mean both of them. Both of them.
Max give off 7-boot energy.
Maybe,
second boot. Nothing worse than being the second boot. Hey, you'd rather be a first boot than a second boot. Second boots are pointless. And as we get on to PK, who was the second boot, he was blindsided. He was shocked. And Tony was emotionally devastated by this event. Notwithstanding Dante's behavior and his triggering behavior, which I know that you called out on Twitter, Annabelle, do we feel that Tony slightly overreacted to the blind side. Not the way Dante behaved, the reaction is perfectly justified, but the way she reacted to a blind side being like, these things happen. That's the game.
Yeah, I mean, both Dante and Tony were known in their previous seasons for being emotional players. And you know, I love Tony. She's my gal. I do think she crossed a line a little bit in terms of using Marion and her skin condition as an excuse to
that's pretty
target
poor,
her.
right? That was pretty poor.
That
I
was
agree on that.
poor. But yes, she had a very strong emotional reaction to being blindsided. That was a very strong emotional reaction that wasn't probably the best for her game, which, you know, we've seen her do in the past. I would say what I really related to was the very, very strong reaction she then had when Dante slightly raised his voice. So I feel like the missing piece for a lot of the audience there is understanding how post-traumatic stress disorder manifests itself. And so Tony has been open on Twitter about having experienced domestic violence as a young child. And so in that scenario, when a man does slightly raise his voice and you have post-traumatic stress disorder, your body experiences that as a precursor to a direct attack on your life. So that combined with starving, that combined with being blindsided, now I'm having a very strong post-traumatic stress reaction. I think there was something we missed in the edit as well, where she then shared a lot of these experiences with Meryl without perhaps giving Meryl prior warning she was going to do that, just based on Meryl.
Because Meryl expressed, I didn't consent to being overloaded with your emotional baggage, basically.
Yeah, and I think that probably went beyond what we saw on TV. Mm-hmm. So I understand why Tony had the emotional reaction she did. I would have exactly the same emotional reaction. Is that an ideal reaction to have when you're playing Survivor? No, you want to come back to camp and say, oh, fine, everyone. Like, thank God you got the PK target off my back. But I sympathize with her response.
Yeah. So I think when we talk about that tribe and who we've now discussed at length, it's really interesting because I said that they're stacked and the pre-merge tribe was a dumpster fire. But really, I was incorrect in that statement. And the truth is, the post-merge tribe was always going to be the dumpster fire because there's so much ego in the room. It's just everyone has a huge ego there, and it's just every ego trying to bustle. And as we now turn to the pre-merge tribe, you're seeing a lot more humility in the way that they're all playing. Even the people that were ego sort of players, like Tevin is a very good example of the game that he's playing here. He's really dumbed down his ego. He's playing in a real relaxed way. Dino as well. Dino was such a big player, a game strategy. Like, he's really dialed it down. And of course, Seamus is presenting an incredible dream for first boot players as how you can come back. You can learn from your first boot experience and just be a much better player.
I think you're right. And I feel
sorry, Max, you go.
I was just adding to that. A lot of the people on the pre-merge, the pre-merge tribe have played that middle ground sort of game where they just don't want to stir the pot. They don't want to put themselves in that positions which got them out earlier in their previous seasons, and that's obviously working for them. And you can feel that unity within the tribes where they've been winning, and then we saw that in the first two challenges.
The unity, except for the expected shit show between Tanya and Pinty that has preoccupied the entire week of this tribe.
That is why they're there, and they're the easy first two boots. That's just the inevitable there. And if I was in that tribe, I'd be happy having Pinty sitting next to me or sleeping on one side of the fire, as they say.
And that's, of course, who we didn't pick. We didn't pick Pinty or Tanya. They were the unpicked. We were allocated them. Ryan Brink managed to pick up Tanya. He thought she had serious Shane Gould energy. I assume he was now referencing to Shane Gould from Champions, from All Stars? All Stars. And not Champions and Contenders, where she was the first boot. Is my memory serve me right?
Oh, darling, you're asking someone with COVID.
I think she was actually the first boot. I think she was.
So so that was the energy there. And Pinty, Schneider's still got Pinty, so Snyder's still got Pinty, so he's still in it for about an episode until Pinty goes. Pinty has done the worst job I've ever seen of trying to.
She just comes across as so unlikable.
So unlikable.
And I don't know if it's just the edit or just who she is. I'm sure she's lovely in real life, and you can't take what you see on TV judging these people. But she's just hard to root for in that way.
What
do people like about?
You know what? I'm living for the gay drama. If you wanted a good spot by the fire, Tanya should have elbowed Pinty out the way, maybe thrown her in the fire, Dino style, and got yourself a spot.
I had to going back onto Tanya. I'm not sure if you guys.
Just an open question from Matt Chang.
All right, let's go.
We've got to provide the listeners, we're up to 6 listeners, so interacting is what's getting us people on the show. Notwithstanding how much you would
opportunity to make this about ourselves, Max. Stop talking about Survivor South Africa.
He says, notwithstanding how you may or may not have
this podcast was about.
Notwithstanding how you may or may not have played on Melbourne season 3, which player of this season would each of you most want to play like? As in, like, from having watched this week. For me, it would be Tevin. I keep associating myself with Tevin. I'm just going to have to...
I thought you were going to say Chappies against CK. Come on.
I'm not... Like, Chappies is who I wish I could be, but I'm not Chappies. Let's get real. Now, Tevin... The thing that I really loved about Tevin, in a way that I don't know if I could play it as well as he did, and this is what I would probably fail to do, he hears that Teresa has thrown out, she saw him find the idol, right? Which, look, props to her. Like, she's taken her game to a whole new level, just making shit up and throwing it out there. That's hardcore. Like, I stand that. Like, and how does he react? And how does he react to that? He knows it's a lie because he hasn't found the idol, and she said she saw him find it. So how does he react? He does not confront her. He tells people to approach him about it. Look, that's not true. I don't know why she's saying that. And then comes to the entire group and says, look, people were saying I found the idol. I haven't found the idol. You can look through my stuff and let's all try and find it together. And then they do find it, and he lets Sheamus have it. And he completely removed the risk of everyone wants to get him out. Now, I feel like that is the best way I've ever seen something like that be played. But I reckon I would have overreacted. I would have been like, who's saying what about me? Oh, we got to get her. I wouldn't be measured and calm and remove any of the issue in the most positive way. So hang on. We've got Martinez, who I mentioned earlier, who would have enjoyed the Lost reference, is watching. And he thinks that Steffi, same as us. English is his second language. I'm trying to understand what he says.
Martinez, let me tell you, I'm about to heap some hot dripping loving on Steffi in a moment.
Okay, here we go. All right, that's who you want to be like. Okay, off you go. You go. Who do you wish you could play like?
Yeah, Matt actually brings up a good point about that. I thought Tanya was gorgeous. I mean, bless her, terrible job. You might want to pull up Matt's comment. But Tanya choosing to take the hit from Teresa and saying that it was her who had spread that rumor. Tanya also taking the hit, she said in her exit interview, for Shona and another one of the women over bitching about Pinty eating all of the food. My heart, I mean, absolutely bless her. Tanya, I don't like conflict. I don't want any conflict. So I'm going to take the heat for all of this drama and then immediately start some more conflict. I would die for that woman. I love her.
Kind of on the same topic, but talking about Tanya taking the hit, I'm not too sure how many of you guys actually noticed what she was wearing on her jacket. She had a I'm not sure if it was just me. I had to pause and rewind. She was wearing like a little marijuana symbol on her jacket there, and bringing up Tanya taking a hit. I'm sure she's happily back home and enjoying herself if she's that willingly publicly wearing on a Survivor South Africa in a tribe a weed positive jacket. Love that for her.
Well,
A
pivoting
marinara
to
patch. That's right, Mad Aussie. She went home and injected some marinaras.
Hey,
Did I
Matt
say-
Aussie's here. We all know Matt Aussie. We played a mini once with Matt Aussie, didn't we?
I go way back with Matt Aussie. Thank you very much.
Is Matt the one that I accidentally told we were voting him out in the full like everyone chat? I'm pretty sure it was.
Sounds like something you'd do.
Yeah, and then I tried to pretend that I didn't.
You know what? Tanya has hemp farmer vibes. Do we know what she does? She just gives me the aura of someone who probably farms hemp.
Poor Matt Aussie's learning right now that the three of us were friends going into that mini, and we completely screwed them all over by having that pre-game relationship. Now, you were going to say something about Steffi while we're talking about patches on clothes. She has a little cartoon of the Joker from Batman.
I saw that. Very creepy. You know what? That is a red flag. I mean, one of the number one red flags when it comes is men who are obsessed with the Joker. Does this also apply to women? You know what? I've got to say yes. That said, spoiler alert, Steffi is my early contender for number one crush pick. And back to Matt's question earlier about who would we wish we were playing like this game. I'd love to say Meryl, but I love the limelight too much. So I'm going to go for Steffi. She is looking smoking. Oh my God, that body, that hair, I love it. Everyone wants to be all up in her business. Small PP Dante's voting his own allies off left, right, and center because he's jealous that they're closer to Steffi than him. All the gals want to be up with her. Marion is showing her idol. Chappies is falling over her. Like, honestly, Steffi, who's not in love with Steffi on that tribe? And I would like a little slice of that as well. So, look, wasn't a huge fan in her first season. I have a visceral memory of the the pageant queens all ganging up and bullying the mum pageant queen for being a mum pageant queen, which was always a bit of a weird vibe for me.
Because the mum pageant queen
used to her this time.
Yeah, the mum pageant queen also always lost to the main pageant queen, who by the end of that season I couldn't stand her, Nicole. I could not stand her because the thing that I hated the most about Nicole for jumping on that season, Steffi's season, is she actually had lots of great moves and she manipulated so many people, a lot of the men in particular, including the gay men like Corbus. She completely manipulated them all and did an amazing job. But to the camera, to the audience, she would pretend like she wasn't doing that. Like she was such a nice person and honorable. And I'm like, why are you lying to me? I can see what you're doing. You're playing this incredible game. Own it. I hate that. Don't lie to me. I'm the audience. I can see it.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I'm glad Rob won that season. And I'm sure as a feminist, you could not stand her end game. I'm not going to support women. I'm going to support the men that support women because that's more important for feminism argument.
Honestly, like Tanya, I dabbled excessively back in my day, CK. And if you think my short-term memory retains any of the information once the season's over, you got something else coming.
Well, I only just binge watched that season. And sorry, before we jump on to Matt Aussie now remembers us, and now obviously maybe I don't know if he's still watching or not, but obviously he's now bitter that's why he lost that.
Max, Max wanted to share now who he wishes he was playing like this season.
For the sake of it, why not? I'm going to say Dante, but in his more relaxed way. I feel like he has gone. Dante's previous season, he was a lot more passive, whereas now he's definitely stepped up in his game and has tried to take control a little bit more. I'm going to say that I want to play like a Dante in the medium. So not passive, but a little bit aggressive. That's my answer.
So not Dante in either season.
So Dante, it's a mix between Dante from his previous season.
Matt,
Yeah,
I'm not putting him on the spot. You asked us this question like 20 minutes ago. He's had plenty of time to prepare.
Yeah, and I was going to say Chappies, but he was voted out first, and I'm not sure how I went in Melbourne Survivor. People are going to have to tune in and watch that. But I'm going to say Dante for the sake of saying Dante, and he's my boy.
All right, love it, honey.
That's it. Got to back your picks in.
Did you say Dante is more chill than you, Max? I don't know if that's possible. I think that's a good point. You know, I think the person you should have said is
what I said.
The person you should have said is Seamus. He's playing a very strong game. On the edge, you can't feel like he's the winner at the moment. That'd be my.
I don't see. Seamus is already giving off "I don't trust him" vibes. A lot of people on his tribe are saying we don't want Seamus running the game. There's something about Seamus that I don't trust. I think that Seamus has the Andy Meldrum curse of just having something about him that people don't trust and don't like. We love Andy Meldrum. We're big anti-fans, but also femmes. But there seems to be some kind of energy that Seamus gives off where it doesn't matter how much he radically changes his personality or the game, people just don't seem to completely trust him.
I can see what you're saying, but I think comparing him to Sandbag Andy is an extreme comparison.
Like, you know what I'm trying to say. He's got steamy vibes. You're right, Matt.
He is. Yeah, Matt's fair on that comment. Both Matt's actually fair.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a feel of the winner from the edit thus far, or do you feel it's going to be a little bit like last season when Nicole came out of nowhere later in the game?
I think they would try. I think they would try to do that because it's a lot better than like. Rob was like the most obvious winner of all time on Island of Secrets. It was so obvious from the moment, and it never changed. I think that it's better when someone like Tom or Nicole just come out of the woodwork and win the thing. And like, wasn't excited that Tom won, but I wanted Werner to win that thing. But like, Tom came out of nowhere. Like you thought it was just going to be Werner, right? Because he just had the edit the whole way, and then he just gets sliced at 4. And it's like, who's going to win it now? Is it going to be Jean or is it going to be Tom? And it was unbelievable. Last night we were the same win last season. Okay, Chappies just went. Is Nicole or Smash going to win this thing? Like, I've got no idea. Like, and so I feel like we'll probably get that again with two random players like that don't have a huge edit, and then suddenly. Or not even a positive edit. Because I think that was the thing like Tom. Tom did not have a positive edit. And maybe they gave Tom the most positive edit they possibly could with the footage available. But who knows?
This is why I can't call Survivor South Africa. I mean, my vibe of Tom was a little bit of a chauvinist, some racist energy going on there as well. Definitely not likable. Mate, not only did the guy win, didn't he also get fan favorite? I don't know what wavelength South Africa is on, but clearly it's a very different one that I'm on. So for all I know, in South Africa, Dante has a huge swinging schlong. I mean, that man cannot walk down the street without taking somebody out. So I just don't know how to read them. My winner pick, I want to call it now. My winner pick is Meryl. I think she's playing an amazing game, under the radar, but still voting correctly every time. No one's voting for her. That said, my chaotic Survivor South Africa, you can never tell who's going to win pick is Felix, because why the hell not?
Yeah, that would be good. What about Dino? Thoughts on...
You would like it to be Dino.
I would love for him to win. Number 1 pick, getting the W. Low-key, the whole fire situation. Him falling onto the fire and not participating. What do you think that does to his chances moving forward? Or I should say my chances with him winning.
Dino, that's a pretty bad burn.
Yeah, they even showed they showed it to the
second degree. They said it's going to be tough to like recover from that. And it depends on like, is this a Johnny Fair play situation where they won't give him any painkillers, or will he actually? If he's given painkillers, then you could probably work through it. But if you're not getting drugs, like.
Well, I've seen a few people say now that they think this could actually be a Tyson blood versus water situation where his threat level is managed by having his flippers taken out. And now people are going to see him as less of a threat, and this could increase his winning chances.
I don't know who's saying that, because Dino is not a threat because of his challenge prowess. Like Tyson is a threat because he's a triple threat, but he's also going to be very good at challenges at the back end of the game.
Dino was very good at puzzles, which you need your fingers for.
I think
he said his thumbs were working.
Dino's going to get taken out the same way that Nate was taken out in the season with the Beauty Queens, where for some reason they can put of 2 people of their 8-person tribe, 2 people have to pull a rope. They put Nate on it. He does a pretty good job with his cut up hand, even though like it's killing him, and they vote him out anyway. And Nicole said she did it for Nate's own good. If they continued lying to the camera. Here we go.
We've got a few comments we need to share.
Matt wants Shane to win, to be honest.
I would like that too, Matt. That would be good. Shane's my pick in the draft. And
Josh?
Josh would like, he thinks Teresa. Yeah,
Josh, I disagree with you there.
I would love a Teresa
so I don't care.
She's such an iconic TV. I mean, absolute chaos. I've watched her play minis as well. She's just as chaotic on minis.
Going back to her whole lie with Tanya and all that, I don't get how she got away with that so easily. I feel like the fact that Tevin...
Sorry, Matthew just made a really funny comment.
Yes, that's the comment of the night right there. I can see it. And it's not just because she's black. I can see it. There's definitely a similarity there.
So sorry, what was the point of her lie, Max? Was that the question?
No, I'm just saying that she got away. She really got away with that lie, especially, and also the fact that they found the idol for Tevin's sake, because they don't. If no one finds that idol, they assume Tevin has that idol, and he could be in a lot of trouble moving forward.
I think we covered this in extensive detail while
we did, but I feel like I was in and out of the.
Yeah, we covered it
during that time.
Teresa got away from it because Tanya took the blame.
I'm just putting in my 10 cents there.
And I think that look, Teresa has the ability. If I hope she learns from this and sees, because she said it was sort of a mistake, but I hope she learns from this and realizes she can get away with the sneaky because people don't assume she's up to the sneaky. So when Tevin just said, "Oh no, it was Tanya saying that," he was like, "Oh okay," and he believed that, right? Just straight up, she can get away with more of this if she wants to, and I hope she's.
CK, we've covered this already. No, I'm kidding.
All right, so I'm gonna bring up.
Moving on.
I'm going to bring up the draft board and we will see what's happened to the picks. We've already gone through it, but it's important to recap where we are sitting while I am doing
Did we think it was the right idea to get rid of Tanya over Pine Tea?
I think Pine Tea will be better at the challenges. That would be my only reason.
Yeah.
And potentially cause more chaos, which gives you more reason to get rid of her later.
Yes. Hearing the confessionals at the end of the episode, it felt like not the majority, because obviously Pinty stayed, but a lot of them wanted Pinty gone. And so it just makes Pinty the next easy boot, or an option rather. Yeah. What do you guys think of the fake idol that Shona was making?
Oh, I love that. Apparently she learned macrame just for Survivor so she could make the fake idol.
That, do you reckon that'll come into play further on? Down the line?
I really hope it does. That was fantastic.
I even liked a cheeky wink to Nico towards the end there. It was just such a nice little edit. Just that
She's
whole
so fun.
Stumbles back behind the tribe, puts it in the fire, does the old, you know what's up? Shh. Don't tell
And
anyone.
you
See
said
what
that
happens.
you said that she Matt Ozzy loved it. You said that she's like you, and she even looks a bit like you.
Yeah,
Annabelle.
she does. I told you she's got chaos Annabelle energy.
And yeah, so I definitely see similarities. I love that strategy thing. I hope that really pays dividends, particularly as in Survivor South Africa, there is very often a idol at tribal council. They had it in season 8. They had it in Island of Secrets. So I can't remember if they had it. I think they also had it in actually in Philippines as well. So in all 3 of the last seasons, there's been an idol hidden at tribal council. So it's even more believable that it's there because that's something they regularly do.
It is believable because no one has ever hidden a fake idol at tribal before. I mean, that's a completely original move.
It's so good.
Makes it interesting.
So we
You're
obviously
right, Matthew.
I lost Chappies. Here we go. He's gone.
Nico did give her nothing, which I feel like that was the right thing to do, but just for the edit, he could have done a little wink back just to make it a little that cheeky sort of communication with no communication.
Matt Ozzy says Henry hid a fake immunity idol at tribal in Oz. Did he play a fake one or did he actually hide one there?
He hit it and then immediately found it. It was like a game to like,
yeah.
Hey, I've got an idol. I just found this sort of thing. Whereas she's setting it up for the future. And hey, and Schneider, your player is still here, Pinty, but unfortunately Ryan
still going strong.
But Tanya is gone. There we go. That's updated. I'll get rid of that.
We've got to find a better way of doing that. Maybe thicker lines or something.
We need thick red lines through your CK.
I was doing green because I haven't used the green.
Make it more prominent, please.
I think someone will find it. Did she include a note with it though? That's the important thing because without a note, no one's going to believe it's an idol.
But it looked very well made though.
It was very well made, and sure, if you find it back at camp and you've got time to process it, maybe you have more time to have rational thoughts like there's no piece of paper with it. Whereas if you find it at tribal and then say go to play at that tribal, maybe you don't have time to have that thought process. I don't know.
The best way she could play it is like go for it. And then someone else sees that she's going for it, and then they like beat her to it. That would be the best.
Yes.
And I think that's what Ozzy was sort of saying. I wasn't stealing your thunder, mate.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's similar idea. Yeah. And then Matt says if he's ever gets to play, he's practicing pretty string. You should have done that for. You should have done that for Backyard 4. You might have won. So. I think we're going to the end. Is there now? Let's just flag. We're going to do that thing: strategic, social, and the total package moves of the week. I feel the best strategic move of the week is I have to give it to, as I mentioned, Tevin's ability to appropriately play down the idol situation and remove that heat, and then. The way he handled the other idol, the outpost idol, I agree. The Palesta was probably not the best choice, but he still did it in a reasonably way that managed his risk level. He's managing his threat level, and I really rate that. I'm getting called spoilers for talking about where Matt Chang came in Backyard 4. Jesus Christ, guys! Like it finished like a month ago. That's not a spoiler. Keep up with your shit. Anyway. Okay, what about you, Max?
Yes,
full package of the week. What do we think was the best physical move, strength move of the week?
You have to stop fast forwarding through the challenges, babe.
No. I feel like the best.
What was your challenge performance move of the week? You can talk about challenges.
Yeah, I feel like the comeback from the Merge Tribe when they've lost the first 2 and then winning that third one was definitely the challenge move of the week. The tribe winning that immunity challenge. And Dante's performance in it, obviously.
You can work on that for next week.
I will. It's constructive criticism, and I'll definitely Work on it.
Well, now
Nailed
you
it,
got
mate.
you got this responsibility.
Yeah,
You can
that's
focus
it.
on.
That's it. This is just a
Yeah,
new thing.
I couldn't have answered that. I don't remember the challenges.
Neither do I. I don't pay attention. And I'll
So,
do the challenges. Social move.
I'm torn. I'm torn between wanting to say Meryl, who again seems to be in good with absolutely everyone. You know, she's comforting Tony after the blind side. She's laying low. So I do think Meryl's playing the best social game, but I want to give my full package social prize to Marion, who managed to keep Shane on side and keep Shane trusting the group, even after they blindsided the Breakfast Club, used him as the split vote. She's also managed to rally the numbers around her against her ex-boyfriend and his new bestie. She's getting snuggled in the warm, muscular, tiny PP embrace of Dante at night. So I think Marion's looking good for me. Marion is my girl this week.
Right.
True. Can I add on to that with the social move of the week?
Yes,
Sure.
I reckon Pinty's sleeping on one side of the fire. That's probably social move of the week. I got to add something different, CK. If it's not going to be proper
she's still there.
talk, it's got to be the shit.
She's still there.
The shit that no one wants to hear.
Yeah,
Matt wants to know
when Chappies and Tyson ate all of the food, they were kings. When Pinty does it.
Sorry, I forgot this. When Chappie's saying that he was feeling like a 2 out of 10 going home.
Yeah.
For that first tribal. That's probably social move of the week. That is the definition of never being too comfortable in that game of Survivor.
In my experience from playing orgs, when you feel like you've got it all in the bag and like you've got it all under control and you know what's happening is when you immediately get voted out. So when a 2, for him feeling 2 means he should have been fucking worried that he was in trouble.
So sorry, do we think the swap will be soon? Yeah, I reckon they'll do it on the last episode of this week coming, or have that as the non-elimination episode this week.
Then okay, I agree. Can you answer Matthew's question about the mix?
I think he means your microphone.
Mike, it's the mic.
Microphone you have, honey.
What's your
I
setup,
said
CK?
It's a blue Genie. It costs about $200. You can get it from Officeworks. It's a good little entry level podcast microphone. That's what my research told me. So I recommend. Josh said, "What are your thoughts on the advantage Marion found, which is the mutiny to switch to another tribe?" Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it get played because they had it in the prior season and it never got used. The 2 people that had it were whoever was the first boot, who I can't remember, and Chappies. And people said now the irony of obviously with Marion it hasn't applied, but the 2 people that found the diplomacy immunity from that season 8 have both been first boots now. So it was a slight curse. But I think it's going to be a great advantage for her. For people that need refreshing on what it is, you can basically jump to another tribe once you lose your immunity challenge. If you think you're on the.
I mean, the thing is, though, people never have the self-awareness to know, and because the loss aversion is so high, so they don't realize how low they are on their tribe, and they're afraid of losing the relationships they have on their current tribe by going to the other one. People don't end up playing it. I mean, not fun, very self-indulgent fact. The first time I ever met Max's brother, I blindsided him while he was holding a mutiny idol. Was it a blindside? I told him that he should definitely play something, but he was still shook, and I think Max is frozen again. I think I love it as an idea. I just think that in between loss aversion and a lack of awareness about people's standing in the tribe, I doubt it'll ever be used.
Peregrine, hey Peregrine, new listener, first time question: has any mutiny been used? I don't think any form of mutiny idol has ever been used. I just laughed at that. That's pretty funny. I don't think it's ever been used. The only mutiny I can think about is in Pearl Islands when Candace and Jonathan decided to mutiny, setting up that power four that went all the way to the end. But I think no, not in the context of these idols. Look, I think she might play. It depends where she ends up on a swap. Like, I think if your numbers are really bad in a swap and all your friends are on the other side, you might as well use it. Like, but it all depends on circumstance.
Or fun idea, she gives it to PK so she doesn't have to put up with him anymore.
Okay, Max, we got that. Yeah. They could try and give it to someone on the tribe at swap to get the majority on the other tribe to steamroll. But yeah, like she could hand it off to someone. That's probably the best play of it, as opposed to using it yourself. And as you say, Annabelle, appearing selfish and giving the wrong attitude. If you gave it to somebody else who you wanted to come back to you, like a Shane, for example, let's say Shane ends up on the other side, give it to Shane and he can come back and join up with her, and that gives her a number. And Shane's the sort of guy that would play that sort of thing and no one would probably think twice about it. So I think Matt's suggestion here is probably the best way to play that. Matt says, this is his creation.
As in live reality games. Well, thanks, darling, for the platform.
Thanks. I didn't know that was... well, thank you for tuning in. I hope we're doing you justice in delivering this show. He's judging now.
He's back. The king is back.
I feel seen and judged now, but he's here and he's asking us Survivor questions about like history, and he's grading us.
Well, darling, if you want questions, real historical questions about Survivor, you came to the wrong podcast. This is for unwarranted speculation only. Can we start to wrap things up, honeys? I'm getting COVID fatigue over here.
He's loving it. I'm also getting COVID fatigue. All right, let's finish up with something saucy. Who's the hottest player of either gender for everyone here, based on that week? Who are you most sexually attracted to from that week?
Okay.
I feel like I've given mine away all night.
Yours is Dante. We know this.
Yeah, it's true.
Spoiler alert! Jesus.
Cannot stop staring at Dante. I am torn. I am crushing on Dino with his cute little flippers.
You've always loved Dino.
I know. I have a soft spot for Dino, but I'm also kind of resentful, as we've discussed, for his poor reception to my feelings.
Yes.
So I think I'm all about Steffi at the moment. We're gonna have a very toxic relationship, but I'm very hot for Steffi right now.
And for me, though, I'm just crushing very hard on Tevin. I know it's controversial. Chappie's has always had my heart, but he's gone now. And Tevin is showing me what I would like to be able to do if I played a second time on something, and that's refine my game into a better social player and a humbler person, even though he still obviously thinks he's amazing and his ego is through the roof. He is somehow tempering it. And that is something I've never managed to learn how to do in my entire life. So I am deeply sexually attracted to his ability to hide his arrogance.
Horny for humility today,
Horny
everyone.
for humility.
That's this episode's hashtag. Horny for humility.
All right. Well, that's all for today. We will be back again either Sunday or Monday. Maybe we'll do the Monday because we've got a good level of interaction. But we'll see. We Sunday or Monday after the 3 eps. Everyone enjoy the next 3 to 4 episodes of Survivor South Africa. We will be back. We love the interactions. Keep joining. Keep sending us the questions. We love to interact with you and not just ourselves. Thanks for coming, and we will see everyone next week.
Thanks for having us. Have a good night,
Sort
everyone.
out your tech. Sort out your tech.